Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Fab's in the house, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm in the house with these two beauties. Right over here I've got, as you can see, Shirogorov Custom Division F3NS, and another Custom Division. Right over here I've got the F95 Antique. So I've got a frame lock and a liner lock to compare, because these two guys are, in my opinion, some truly iconic knives from Shirogorov. F3NS production is spectacular, is legendary, and F95 is as well another pretty popular one from that brand. And these are two custom divisions, so those two knives on steroids, we could say. So, like, really packed with features. As you can see, these frame lock, of course. Look at this, and these liner lock. So, main difference is gonna be that. But if you check the milling, of course, you got also more noticeable differences. So. Another thing to mention is that this is an older version, and you can probably spot that from the pivot. So pivot on the left is just smaller, as a thicker collar, and you can notice that the F3 has a wider area, like for the pivot. And look at the back, of course, that's going to reflect on the screw on the back. Another little detail to notice in the screw, that is actually the one that you access to undo the pivot, as another difference. As you can see on the F3NS right over here, there is a small scalloped, let's say, ending right over here to retain the tool. So the tool is not going to be able to slide off of the pivot, whereas in the case of this one, this is the older version, you see that the slot is just straight up to the end. I don't know if it makes sense. Let me just angle them to the correct orientation. Maybe you can see better like that what I mean. So that's another improvement that's going on in, like, throughout the generations. Milling is still, like, spectacular. Both are equally gorgeous. Look at this detail right over here. It's just, like, fantastic. Like, I'm just gonna shut up for a second, but still, even if this is a little bit older, not too much, but look at the detail. Equally stunning. Look at that. So the outline of the handle is pretty much the same. There is a little difference going on over here. You can notice that, especially when you open the blade. Look at this. A little bit different chamfers. If you put them on a side to side, you'll see, of course, the F3 is gonna result in a thicker overall knife because of the liner lock, and the F95 is gonna be, of course, thinner in the pocket. The clip is gonna be doing the same deal. You can see there's a little difference in the milling, a little bit wider. Looks like kind of a little bit more refined on the F3. Another difference you can spot is the different size for the handle screw. So this one got smaller. The pivot got bigger, but this got smaller because I'm assuming to give a little bit more clearance for the access on, like, to the screw, because it's on the back. It's blind. Let's say it's closed on the show side, as opposed to the production version where you can access the knife from this side. But in this case, you access from the back, and when you do so, you risk to scratch the clip on this side, unless you are very careful and you just tape the tool. But you have a little bit more clearance. But for example, they completely fixed that issue by just doing a little indentation in the clip. Look at that. So the tool can easily access that with no risk of like scratching anything. But anyways, that's just like a little detail. Another little difference is that the stainless steel lock face insert that is going on the F95 antique right over here, screwed in from the outside, that is going to be needed to avoid lock stick. You see, screwed from the outside with a nice screw, beautifully done. Right. In this case, there's no screw for the lock face insert, which is already rare, like to see a liner lock with a lock face insert. But in this case, I'm assuming they had to glue epoxy this insert and just press fit to the liner right over here because the thickness wasn't allowing for a screw. That's my assumption, but that's what is going on right there. So that's another difference. Another pretty crucial difference is the backspacer. As you can see on the F3NS is much more detailed, more sculpting is going on, it has more like 3D-ness, is just like fantastic. And of course they both are sporting like an integrated lanyard hole. I prefer kind of like a little more elaboration, a little more facets going on here in the F95. You see the F3 is just a little bit more flat, but of course you got F3 centering backspacer, whereas here it's just flat, so much more detail going on. Look at this view. I mean, here you can really appreciate you know, the level of machining and precision that goes into these two knives. So that's fantastic. Clip is the same. Of course, you have external cutout here, and you have like an internal in the liner right over there. You have custom division, you have the code, and you have the serial number right over there. And this is going to be the same thing like for this F95 as well. Other differences, of course, in the handle, you have a different location for the bear. You have it in the back and you have it in the front, and in the back, you know, there's pretty much not going on that differs to another. The flipper tab has a little bit more detail, of course, on the F3NS. Look at that little cat out right there, missing over here. It has I mean, the jimping is, yeah, pretty much, it's a little bit different. Both have like a very cool one. If we check like the jimping on the blade, of course, we're gonna notice some differences. And this one on the F95 has a little bit more bite than this one on the F3, which just looks gorgeous, but it has a, you know, has not much grip to offer. The F95 is missing the swedge, which is present on the F3. They both are sporting the logo, custom division, but as you can see, the F3 has an extra layer of awesomeness with this laser wavy pattern engraved on the blade. It's just ridiculous. S90V and S90V for both. The stonewash finish for this thing is just phenomenal. In person, you just need to see that. It's great. And I mean, both have fantastic appeal. I mean, those are iconic knives, like one of the best frame lock around and one of the best liner lock around. Both are running on roller bearings, single row. The multi-row roller bearings is reserved to the full custom, but still, the action on these two guys is something like epic. I don't know how to explain it, so just check it out. I'm just gonna move this guy. This is the F95, right? Look at this thing and check it out. I mean, really strong detent, dialed in, smooth like a I don't know, dripping butter waterfall, kind of butterfall. Look at this thing. It is ridiculous, insane. I don't know what to say, but I mean, you check this. Ooh. I mean, it's something really hard to describe. You gotta feel this in your hand to really understand what I'm talking about, because otherwise somebody might think I'm crazy. Guys, this is these two are like probably the pinnacle of Shirogorov custom division for the liner lock and for the frame lock. I mean, somebody might argue that this might be, I don't know, if another liner lock to compete with this one, but still we're talking about F3, right? Or somebody might say, well, Fab, but what about the F95 with a carbon fiber scale? Yeah, all right, then we can introduce this fella right over here, which is the Hattie magnetic, that we can kind of put up against this one, but that's going to be a no contest, because the technology that is going on and the feature going on this into this one, are gonna surpass this guy. But this is another story. This is a full titanium story, right? So full titanium frame lock and full titanium liner lock. I think these two guys are pretty spectacular. I mean, there's another actually full titanium frame lock that might, step in last minute to kind of like stir the waters and to compete with the F95. But pretty soon you're gonna realize that this is an F5, and yeah, you can't compete with that. This is sporting zirconium pivot collars, zirconium backspacer. This thing has a Vanax 37 steel. Blade is just a thing of a beauty, but it's not the story for the F5. We're talking about F95 and F3 full titanium. Look at this fella right over here. Again, one of the nicest knives around, and this guy, just the F95 Antique, another iconic and truly beautiful piece from Shirogorov Custom Division to masterpieces. So there you have it. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Stay tuned.